£42 million bid accepted for Leny Yoro. Mason Greenwood on the brink of moving to Marseille. Manchester United reportedly interested in signing Toney and Jadon Sancho in talks to move to Juventus. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 700 likes on this evening's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. So if you want to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk, this is the best place to do it. So get involved. Completely free content, doesn't cost any money. Go and subscribe now. Everyone is welcome. Okay, cool. So much to get into on the show this evening, so I'm just going to jump straight on into it. And let's start talking about Leny Yoro. So obviously we did a video about him earlier on today, but I'll give you a little bit of a recap. Manchester United in the last few hours have had a £42 million bid accepted by Lille for 18-year-old French wonder kid Leny Yoro. PSG, Liverpool, United and Real Madrid are all trying to sign this player. He is the real deal. People are comparing him to Raphael Varane, a young Raphael Varane. I don't know whether that's just because he's French. I'm not too sure. But from what I've seen of him, I can see the comparisons. He looks like the real deal. He does. And for £42 million, it would be an absolute bargain. He came through the Lille Youth Academy. He's got 1 year left of his contract, which makes the deal a little bit tricky. Now, the reason for that is Leny Yoro dreams of moving to Real Madrid. I can't blame him, you know. Lots of people have that dream of moving to Real Madrid, don't they? Mbappe wanted to go to Real Madrid. He went there. Camavinga, Tchouaméni. They have a real core of French players, Real Madrid, don't they? So I don't really blame him, but it's a really difficult situation for Lille because Lille have accepted this offer. They want to sell him. He's only got 1 year left of his contract. He's refusing to sign a new deal at Lille. And he's saying, I want to go to Real Madrid. I want to go to Real Madrid. But at the same time, Manchester United have had an offer accepted. And Lille are saying, we want to accept this offer. We want to sell you. We need the money. So it's a really hard position for Leny Yoro to be in because on the one hand, he owes everything to Lille. He came through their youth academy. And now they have the opportunity of making a lot of money. And for a club like Lille, let's be honest, right? Lille don't make loads and loads of money from transfers and stuff. Obviously, the French league doesn't make the kind of money that the Premier League does, you know? So 42 million for Lille would be a hell of a lot of money. The biggest signing they've ever sold was Victor Osimhen to Napoli, and that was about 77 million euros. But other than that, Rafael Leao was another one for about 50 million. Eden Hazard to Chelsea for about 35 million. He would go down as the second biggest transfer in Lille's history. Now, you flip this on its head, right? He wants to go to Real Madrid. But the problem is, Real Madrid aren't willing to pay the amount of money that Lille are asking for. It's a really complicated situation. So the story this evening is that Real Madrid have submitted a bid for Leny Yoro. They've offered £17 million. Like, it's a mad, mad situation. Because Real Madrid's argument is this. They are patient. They know that if he doesn't come now, he will go next season for free. And Real Madrid have this habit, don't they? Like we saw with Kylian Mbappe, of waiting or telling players to run down their contracts and then signing them for nothing the next year. But the question here is, do we think that Leny Yoro would do that to Lille? That's the difficult thing, because the story that I've been given this evening is that apparently Lille have said to Leny Yoro, we need this money. You're not going to sign a new contract. Like, please go. We really, really need this £42 million, right? Real Madrid are only offering 17 million, which is, let's be honest, a joke. That's laughable. It's not even half of what Manchester United are offering. Manchester United are offering 42 million plus add-ons. Real Madrid just offered 17. That's it. Take it or leave it. And they said, we're not going to pay anything close to what Manchester United are offering. Even though they've, you know, won the Champions League. Real Madrid makes so much money. They could easily pay the £42 million, easily. But they're just choosing not to because they're aware that he wants to come and they're aware that if they wait 1 more year, they'll get him for free. It's a really complicated situation. And I know a lot of people think that Manchester United don't stand a chance. They think that any player is going to want to go to Real Madrid. But I actually think when you properly consider the situation, I think he might come to Manchester United. Yes, Real Madrid's his number one choice, but as I said, he's grown up in the Lille Youth Academy. They've told him that they need the money. On one hand, they have Manchester United here willing to give them £42 million, right? The other hand, they've got Real Madrid saying either take the 17 million or effectively we'll sign him for free next year. Like, surely that's such a difficult place for an 18-year-old to be in mentally, to look at this situation and say, if I stay here for one more season, Lille are going to get nothing. And if I go now, I'm not going to be going to the club I want to. Now, I know some fans get really, really worked up about, oh, if he doesn't want Manchester United, don't sign him. It's just one of those situations, isn't it? You know, if Real Madrid aren't at the table anymore, then he'll come to Manchester United. Like, that's the situation, and we can't really be too upset about that, can we? If he dreams of playing for Real Madrid, that's fine. I'm sure he'll be happy at Manchester United as well. But I understand because, as I said before, Real Madrid have this core French squad, don't they? Or French players. They've got Camavinga, Tchouaméni. They've just signed Kylian Mbappe. They've probably got some other French players I've forgotten about. You know, he'd be following in the footsteps of Raphael Varane, going there. Like, so I do get it. But on the other hand, I'm still a little bit confused as to how he thinks he's going to get game time at Real Madrid. You know? Like, Real Madrid have just won the Champions League, right? Manchester United just finished 8th in the Premier League. Surely he's going to start every single game for Manchester United. Whereas if he moves to Real Madrid, do you really think he's going to be picked? I can't see it. Like, I don't really understand the logic. Surely that's going to stunt his career. If you look at the players they've already got, right? They've got Militao, Rudiger, Alaba, Nacho Fernandez is left. They've got, and they've also got Rafa Marin as well, who's a young player. They've got 4 or 5 very, very talented centre-backs who I imagine will start every single game ahead of him. So I don't really understand it, to be completely honest. And if I was him, I would look at the situation and think, why don't I come to Manchester United, sign a 4-year contract? In 4 years, he'll only be 22 and he could still go and move to Real Madrid then, you know, and everyone wins then. Lille get their 42 million. Manchester United get the centre-back they want. And if he decides in 3 or 4 years that he wants to go to Real Madrid, then fine, I get it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Manchester United... Let's do a poll. Let's do this. Who will win the race for Leny Yoro? Anybody watching the video back on repeat, let me know in the comment section. Do you think Manchester United will win the race for Leny Yoro? Let me know your thoughts below. We've got over 600 people watching the show live now, which is absolutely amazing. If everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like on today's video, that would be really, really appreciated. I've set a likes target of 700 for today's show. The more people that like the video, the more that YouTube will show this video to other people, and it will allow us to do bigger and better things in the future. So please go and like the video if you haven't already. And if this is your first time watching today, please do subscribe to the channel. We're now only 1 subscriber away from 27,200. So let's make sure we hit that by the end of today's video. We can easily do that. Get involved here on Daily Red Devil. Let me just double check if there's anything else on Leny Yoro to go through quickly. Yeah, we've broken down the situation. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think we still have a chance, being completely honest, because, as I said, Lille are only offering £17 million, which Real Madrid are only offering £17 million, which is let's be honest, a joke. When you've got Man United offering £42 million, PSG would probably offer £42 million, and Liverpool would probably offer £42 million. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Apparently, Manchester United have told Leny Yoro that he doesn't have forever to make a decision. Like, if he doesn't decide now, we will move on to other targets, which I think is the correct decision. Like, we can't just sit around waiting for Leny Yoro like we did with Frankie de Jong, and then 2 months into negotiations, Frankie de Jong decides he doesn't want to come to United. Like, we can't repeat those same mistakes of old. Either he says, okay, I understand the Real Madrid deal isn't going to work, I would like to join Manchester United, or we effectively pull out. That's the reality of it for me. But we'll keep you updated on that one as and when I get more news. At the moment, though, £42 million bid has been accepted by Lille, but Leny Yoro still is desperate for Real Madrid. Keeping on the topics of centre-backs then, there was a really interesting story that came out earlier on today from the Manchester Evening News saying that apparently Manchester United are looking at signing 3 centre-backs this summer. I mean, that's music to my ears, because bringing in 3 new centre-backs will most likely mean that Maguire and Lindelof are moved on, which is exactly what needs to happen. Lindelof definitely. Maguire is like a 5th or 6th choice centre-back, maybe. But the problem we have with both of those 2 players is They only have 1 year left of their contract. If Manchester United don't sell Maguire and Lindelof now, not only will we pay their vast wages for the whole season when they're probably not going to get that much games, but then at the end of the season, they'll leave for free and we'll get nothing. So Dan Ashworth and Ineos find themselves in a very, very difficult situation here. If they don't sell them now, they will leave for nothing in a year's time. So if we got 3 centre-backs and Maguire and Lindelof went, I would be absolutely over the moon. So happy. If we got De Ligt, Branthwaite and Leny Yoro, that would be crazy. Absolutely crazy. I think in reality, 2 centre-backs is probably more realistic, but obviously if Lindelof and Maguire go, we will need 3. If one of at the moment, I think 2 is the kind of minimum. But if both Lindelof and Maguire leave, we will definitely need 3 centre-backs, realistically. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How many, or like, what centre-backs do you think Manchester United should go for this summer? Let me know your thoughts. My preference would be Leny Yoro. It would be De Ligt, and it would be Branthwaite. Those would be my 3 centre-backs. I would be so happy if we could do that. But whether we can or not is obviously yet to be seen. I'll keep you updated as and when I get more information. But at the moment, those are the 3 players that we are targeting in the centre-back position. And yeah, they should definitely look to move on Maguire and Lindelof. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. Neither of them need to be at Manchester United anymore. I'm sorry. Like, Maguire did okay last season, but still, as I said a couple of seconds ago, if we keep Maguire for 1 more year, we run the risk of losing him for free next season, and we get nothing then. So, yeah, we definitely need to get that one over the line. Let me know what you think in the comment section, though. I'm very interested to see what you think. Let's move on to Ivan Toney then. So, this story came out from Laurie Whitwell, who reports for The Athletic. He is reporting that apparently Manchester United are interested in signing Ivan Toney this summer, as well as Joshua Zirkzee. Apparently, Ivan Toney could be available for as little as £40 million. He has 1 year left of his contract. Brentford know that either they sell him now or they lose him for free next season. Now, the question I've got for you is, 1, would you like to see Ivan Toney at Manchester United? 2, how much do you think he's worth? Let me know in the comment section. I said it on the show this morning, but I think we do need 2 more strikers. I think Zirkzee on his own is good, but I don't think it's enough to take us to the next level. At a club like Manchester United, you need competition. And Zirkzee and Højlund is good. They're 2 young options, but they're inexperienced, both of them. Whereas if you throw an Ivan Toney into the mix there, I think it honestly takes us up a whole nother level. It really, really does. And it creates that level of competition where you have an experienced player in Ivan Toney to kind of nurture Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund, as well as having Ruud van Nistelrooy as part of the coaching staff. You know, that is an elite team surrounding these young players, and it should only make things go up from there, all being well. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. Would you like to see Ivan Toney at Manchester United? I personally would. I think it would be a good deal, but I would only go for it if we could get Zirkzee as well. I think it needs to be both of them. I don't think one or the other is kind of enough, realistically. Like, if we just sign Joshua Zirkzee, my expectations for the season are probably top 6 and win the Europa League. Whereas I think if we signed Ivan Toney, if we signed Ivan Toney, Zirkzee, De Ligt, Leny Yoro, Branthwaite, and Ugarte, I would say that we should be challenging for the title, genuinely. My expectations would change overnight. If we got rid of, Maguire, Lindelof, McTominay, Eriksen, Casemiro, etc., and you replace that core element of your team with people like De Ligt, Branthwaite, Leny Yoro, Toney, Zirkzee, that takes us to a whole nother level. It does. And I would genuinely be expecting us to finish, first, second, third. Whereas at the moment, with the players we're currently linked to, like De Ligt, Zirkzee, Leny Yoro, I still think at best we'll be challenging for top 4. I don't think we'll, be in the running to win the league. I mean, anything can happen in football. You never know. Maybe we'll start the season well and momentum will build and we'll win the league. Maybe, but I think it's unlikely. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section. Would you like to see Ivan Toney at Manchester United? Always interested to see what other Manchester United fans have to say. So make sure you get involved over there. Okay, moving on from that though, let's talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho. So just so everybody's clear on what's going on with Sancho, the players are back at Carrington now. They trained yesterday and they trained today. Rashford, Casemiro, Ahmad, Onana, Mason Mount. Loads of the first team are back. Maguire, Jadon Sancho isn't. Now, there were some people on the internet saying that Jadon Sancho didn't turn up, which is complete rubbish. Jadon Sancho is waiting to leave the club. He's not been put back into first team training. The same with Mason Greenwood. Both of Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho are now waiting for Manchester United to arrange their exits. Mason Greenwood is about to join Marseille. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But Jadon Sancho is apparently now in talks with Juventus. But the only issue that Juventus have is, like many other clubs, is the financial issue. Juventus don't really have the money for Jadon Sancho. Apparently, they've approached Manchester United and offered a loan deal, which, let's be honest, is completely pointless for Manchester United. A loan deal gets us nowhere. But yeah, it's a really, really difficult situation for Manchester United because they need to get Jadon Sancho out of the club. There is no future for Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. He's on 250k a week. He obviously isn't going to, repair the relationship with Erik ten Hag. Yes, we paid big money for him, but I don't think we're going to get that money back, to be honest. Man United are apparently asking for £40 million for Jadon Sancho, which I think is fair, but no one wants to pay it. The only offer we have on the table at this moment in time is Juventus, who want him on loan, which is pointless, I think. It's absolutely pointless. Like, what do we get out of a loan deal? Nothing. Other than we pay their wages, probably. Like, if we send him to Juventus, I bet you any money we'll end up paying half of his wages. 100%. There is some talks of a Chiesa swap deal for Jadon Sancho. That story's re-emerged today, that apparently Juventus are looking to move on Federico Chiesa. And apparently there's been some level of conversation between Manchester United and Juventus over a possible deal there. Do you think that would be a good deal? Let me know in the comment section. I've kind of got to the point now with Sancho where I just want him gone, realistically. If he's not going to repair the relationship with Ten Hag, he's not going to apologise to the fans. If he still thinks he's in the right and he's, not willing to come out and be the bigger man and just apologise and get on with it, then he just needs to go. It's as simple as that. He could easily do an interview and say, I'm sorry, I didn't handle it in the best way. I will improve my mentality or whatever. Now, I know there's two sides to every single argument, and I know maybe Erik ten Hag did things wrong as well, whatever. But if you think about what Erik ten Hag actually said about Jadon Sancho, he just said that he didn't train that well this week, and that was it. And Jadon Sancho didn't like that and called him out on social media. I mean, that should never happen in any workplace. So, yeah, I think although it's frustrating, we just need to get him out of the club, realistically. We need to try and move on positively because at the moment, we're just going round in circles with Jadon Sancho and it's getting us nowhere. But again, let me know in the comment section, what would you do with Jadon Sancho? Would you try and keep him? Would you try and rebuild the relationship? What do you think? I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say. So make sure you let me know. What should Manchester United do with Jadon Sancho? Very, very interested to see what you guys have to say on that one. But I will keep you updated as and when we get some more news. Just to finish up on Jadon Sancho, actually, apparently Manchester United are interested or willing to look at a loan with an obligation to buy. So they'd loan Jadon Sancho to Juventus for one season and then there would be an obligation to buy for 40 million at the end of it, which, I mean, that probably could work realistically. As long as it was an obligation, then maybe. But yeah, still, my preference is sell him, reinvest the money, and, build the squad in a positive way. We've got over 700 people watching live now, which is absolutely amazing. Big ups to all of you. If you could do me one small favour and smash a like on today's video, that really helps to show the video to more people on YouTube. So make sure you go and do that if you haven't already. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. We're literally about to hit 27,200, one away. So please go and do that if you haven't already. I'm just going to have a sip of my tea, which I think might be cold. My tea is very cold. I've let it go cold. I've been talking too much, haven't I? And I will come back to the chat in a couple of minutes and I'll read out some of your questions and stuff. So make sure you get them in if you haven't already. Okay, let's move on to Mason Greenwood then. So in relation to Mason Greenwood, apparently Marseille have had an offer accepted by Manchester United, £27 million plus add-ons, and there will also be a 50% sell-on clause in the contract. So that will mean if Mason Greenwood goes to Marseille and does well, he will then be effectively, we just have to hope that he goes there and does well. And in the future, Marseille get big money for Mason Greenwood. That's what we need to hold on to, because if that happens, we'll be laughing. If he's, if in the future they sell him for 60 million, we'll get half of that. So I know 27 million is a low amount of money. I know lots of people are saying, I want 100. I had someone in the comments earlier saying that they wanted 100 million for him. And I was just like, where are you getting this from? Like, on what planet is Mason Greenwood worth 100 million pounds? We can't even sell Jadon Sancho, who just got to a Champions League final, for 40 million pounds. How on earth are we going to get 100 million for Mason Greenwood? Like, yeah, it's just not realistic, is it? But I'm actually quite happy with this deal. The last week or so has been that apparently Manchester United are looking for 20 million and they were struggling to get that. But 27 million is apparently what Marseille have offered, plus add-ons. Roberto De Zerbi has been talking about Mason Greenwood. Obviously, he is the new Marseille manager. Roberto De Zerbi had to say this. He said, on the Mason Greenwood deal, for sure, Mason Greenwood is a world-class player. He says, I don't know about his background. No matter the player, once they sign here, they become like my children. I will protect them always. I'm not really sure about that. That sounds a little bit strange, but fair enough. So yeah, Roberto De Zerbi talking about Mason Greenwood, talking about the deal, saying, yes, he's a world-class player. And once he's here, I will nurture him and all the rest of it. So all of the people who, want to keep following Mason Greenwood, obviously he will still be playing in the French league. He'll be available there to watch. So that is good. Okay, cool. Let's move on from Mason Greenwood though. Let's talk a little bit about the recruitment team and about the staff at Manchester United, because it has now been confirmed that Mitchell van der Gaag has left Manchester United. He was Erik ten Hag's assistant. He is gone. The new assistant is going to be René Haak, who was the Go Ahead Eagles manager, and also Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's going to be Erik ten Hag's new team. Apparently, Erik ten Hag specifically asked for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ineos got him the man. Ruud van Nistelrooy turned down Burnley. He had the manager job offered there to him. He also turned down Club Brugge, the manager job. He's going to come to Manchester United as the assistant. He signed a 2-year contract yesterday and should be starting work hopefully this week. They're just waiting for his work visa to come through. So yeah, Mitchell van der Gaag gone. Benny McCarthy gone. Steve McLaren apparently is still here. I don't really know why. He's still hanging around. But yeah, that's the latest on that kind of side of things. Let's see what people are saying in the chat quickly. Let's have a look. Somebody saying, am I going to watch De Ligt tomorrow? De Ligt isn't going to be playing tomorrow, mate. Yeah. He's not going to be playing, unfortunately, for those who want to see him. But yeah, let's move on from that, though. Let's move over to... what else have we got planned? Let's have a look what we've got planned for you this evening. Make sure you get some questions and stuff in as well, everybody. I'll read out a couple in a minute. So if you have any questions, get them in the live chat, and I will circle back to them in a couple of minutes' time. Yeah, just quickly, just to confirm as well, the story here saying that apparently Erik ten Hag specifically led the race to bring in Ruud van Nistelrooy. So Erik ten Hag has got his man. He's finally assembling the team that he wanted, and I could not be happier about that. It sets us officially up for the next season. Somebody says, has Greenwood officially gone? No, he hasn't officially gone yet. Apparently, Manchester United are trying to negotiate the terms of the deal. So the payment structure is the current hold-up. Apparently, Marseille are trying to structure the deal over like 5 or 6 years, but Manchester United want all the money up front, which is probably unrealistic. Their argument is, obviously, Manchester United, if they get the money up front, it will be a 100% profit because he's come through the youth academy, and it will then allow them to go and do more deals this summer. So I understand the argument from Man United, but it doesn't look like Marseille will be in a position to cough up the full 27 million up front. It's going to be in installments. But I imagine we'll get the here we go for Mason Greenwood probably in the next couple of days, to be honest. Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood are the two most advanced players to leave the club. Jadon Sancho at the moment is looking like a loan with an obligation to buy, and Mason Greenwood will be a permanent deal with a massive sell-on clause. So yeah, obviously I'll keep you updated as and when I get more news on that one. There's some breaking news about Joshua Zirkzee as well. So let me bring that one to you because I can see loads of people in the chat asking about that. But before I do that, please smash a like on the video, guys. I've set the likes target of 700. We're about halfway there. So if everybody watching the video now hits the like button, we will do that. We've got over 700 watching, so if everybody likes, we will achieve that, no problem. And please do subscribe as well if you haven't already. It's completely free content. I'm live 3 times a day, 8:30, 1:30 and 6. So make sure you get involved. But moving over to Joshua Zirkzee, this is coming out from Fabrizio Romano. He has been talking in the last 5 minutes. He says that Manchester United are now ready to complete the Joshua Zirkzee signing in the next 2 days. No issues. He says the contract will be valid until June 2029 after commission and salary already agreed last week. He says formal steps with Bologna to follow this week, whether it's the release clause or a different payment structure. So Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United is all but done. Again, it's another situation where Manchester United are trying to work out the best way to pay for this deal, because the issue that United have, apparently the release clause, which is £34 million, has to be paid in full immediately, which is quite unusual for transfers. Most of the time when Man United sign a player, they'll pay it over like 5 or 6 years. So say, for example, when we signed Harry Maguire for £80 million, we'll be paying, say, 10 million a season for 8 seasons. Every year we'll give Leicester another 10 million. So we're still paying for Harry Maguire now. We're still paying for Jadon Sancho now. Most of our transfers, if not all of them, we'll still be paying off each year, which allows us to spend more money that window. Because say, for example, Harry Maguire as an example, yeah? The year we signed him, we'll have only paid a certain amount of his transfer fee that year, which will have freed up money to spend elsewhere. But obviously with this Zirkzee one, if we want this release clause, which is £34 million, we've got to give them £34 million immediately in cash, straight to them, which then will limit what we can do in other areas of the market. So that's where the hold up of the deal is. Man United have this option of paying the release clause, but at the same time, they're exploring whether it would be better to negotiate a separate deal where maybe they give them more money, but it's over a 4, 5, 6 year period. You know, that's the other option. Stratford Gamer says, Kieran, would you ever consider working with Alice, Talks Football, and Saeed? Yeah, I've spoke to both of them. I like both their content. I think me and Alice were talking about doing a show at some point together. I haven't spoke to Saeed about doing a show together, but I've spoke to him on Twitter a bit, and yeah, I rate what both of them do. So I'm always up for collaborating. I've never collabed with anybody yet on this channel, which is pretty mad. It's only ever been me. There's never been any other presenters. It's just been me for the last year. But yeah, we've only been doing this for a year, remember. It's still relatively new. So yeah, there will be collabs and stuff in the future, but for now, you're stuck with me. So I hope you don't mind. But yeah, Joshua Zirkzee, we should get the Here We Go very soon. It's just boring final details on the payment structure and all the rest of it. And you've got to remember, Fabrizio Romano never does Here We Goes until it's like 100% confirmed. So he's effectively saying the deal is done, but they're just ironing out how the payments will be structured, which shouldn't be a problem because Man United always know that they can just trigger the release clause. Does that make sense? But they're hoping that maybe that if they say to them, we'll give you 40 million instead of 34, can we do it over 5 years? Which would mean they only have to pay 8 million a year. Does that make sense? So it's actually way more favourable. Let me explain it really quickly before we move on. It's way more favourable for Manchester United to pay 40 million for Joshua Zirkzee and be able to pay that over a 5-year period, the length of his contract, £8 million a year, than it is to pay his £34 million release clause. Because otherwise, this window, £34 million will be gone, as opposed to 8. Does that make sense? It's a little bit complicated, and obviously because of the financial fair play stuff, it's something that we need to consider and you know, focus on a little bit more. But yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on from Joshua Zirkzee then. Let's talk about... somebody in the chat says, Kieran, do you think Rashford will be involved in the Ugarte deal? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I have a feeling that Marcus Rashford's going to stay now. Like, there isn't really that much interest in Marcus Rashford. PSG is sniffing round, but they're not actually submitting any bids, are they? Yeah, I think Marcus Rashford's going to stay, to be honest. He's just signed this massive new contract. I would be very, very surprised if Rashford leaves now. I know lots of people think he should go, but I think Marcus Rashford feels like he has to prove himself, which, you know what? If Marcus Rashford comes back next season and gets us 30 goals like he did the season before last, I'll be a happy man. I'm always willing to give players a second chance, but as soon as I see that first Premier League game, if he's walking around the pitch not looking interested, we're not going to be happy, are we? All we want is effort and to show that they care. Like, we don't ask for much, do we? We finished 8th last season and we still support this team. We still watch this team every week. We still, cancel social plans so we can watch Manchester United get beaten 3-0 at home to Bournemouth. Like, we're always going to support this team and these players, but the very, very minimum that we ask for is that they show that they care and they put in effort. Like, that's the minimum, isn't it? And I think last season Marcus Rashford didn't do those things, and that's why most of the fan base have turned on him. But as I said, first game of the season, if he's working hard, even if he doesn't score, if he's working hard and trying and tracking back and looking positive, then great. I'll get behind him, I'm not a toxic person. I'm not going to have a Rashford agenda. But yeah, let's see what else people are saying in the chat today. I'm just going to open my fizzy water. Oh, I've got really, really dry mouth. Okay. Somebody in the chat is saying that Ugarte is the key signing for Manchester United this summer. Yeah, I mean, a CDM is our priority. And I was thinking this earlier, right? So far, we've submitted 3 bids for centre-backs. We've submitted a bid for Branthwaite, a bid for Leny Yoro, and a bid for De Ligt. Right? But we haven't yet secured a CDM. We're desperately crying out for a central defensive midfielder. Even if Casemiro stays, we're still desperately crying out for a central defensive midfielder. And I do find it quite funny that we haven't done that yet. That would be my first signing of the window. I would be spending big on a CDM. It does look like Manuel Ugarte is still on. But obviously, as I've said to you many times before, the Copa America and the Euros has messed us up, because all of our potential signings, apart from Lenny Yoro, are involved with the Copa America or the Euros, which has really delayed everything for us. Obviously, our first pre-season game, is on Monday. 6 days from now, Manchester United play, and we haven't signed anybody. But I'm not going to sit here and scream, oh, that's because Ineos aren't very good and all the rest of it. It's not because of that. Ineos are clearly doing bits behind the scene. It's just really hard to get these deals over the line because of the players' involvements in the international tournaments, And that's why I said a couple of days ago, like, I kind of hope that the Netherlands get knocked out. Obviously, I hope England beat them tomorrow, and then we should get a De Ligt and Zirkzee medical this week then. The other annoying thing as well is, obviously, a lot of these players are going to go off on holiday, which, again, is going to delay things. And we just have to hope and pray that, that we have enough time for them to get back ahead of the preseason tour to America. I think it's at the end of July, but I was thinking about this earlier, right? So say, let's have a look. Surely they've already had a holiday. Like, surely all of the players that we're looking at have already had a holiday. Let me know if you think I'm going crazy, but I was thinking about it earlier, right? I know they've all been involved in the Euros, but Bayern Munich's last game was on the 18th of May, right? And the Euros didn't start until mid-June. So surely, like, De Ligt was off from the 18th of May until mid-June. Surely Zirkzee was off from the mid-May to mid-June. Do you know what I mean? Like, why do they need another really long holiday? They've just had a month off. And being honest, like, Zirkzee and De Ligt have just been sat on the bench for the last month. They haven't actually been playing any football. So, I don't know. Hopefully Manchester United don't say, oh, you can have, like, 3 weeks off. Someone was saying that to me earlier, that apparently they're going to give them 3 weeks off. And I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. They don't need 3 weeks off. They've just been sat on the bench for the last month. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit unfair here. Let me know what you guys think. I just personally think that, you had a month off. I know the summer's shorter this year because obviously of the international competitions, but still, they had a month off. They've come back and they've sat on the bench for 3 weeks. Like, give them 1 week off, go off on a nice holiday, go and sit in some sun for a week, and then surely they should be back in training. Like, I don't really get it. I don't know. I'm probably ranting here. I'm probably going off on a bit of one, but I'm trying to spin a positive on it. I'm trying to say these players don't need 3 weeks holiday. They should just be coming back and getting involved. But I mean, what do I know? Maybe they need their body to rest. Maybe sitting on the bench is tiring. I don't know. Who knows? Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat, though, shall we? Digital Sports Update says, do you think Casemiro will stay? No, I think Casemiro will go, to be honest, mate. I think he'll be gone. At the moment, the Saudi clubs are looking like the most likely destination for Casemiro. It has gone a little bit quiet about Casemiro and Saudi, but I think he will go. I'd be very, very surprised if Casemiro's still here next season, but anything can happen in football, can't it? Maybe he is here. And if he is, just like with Marcus Rashford, if Casemiro decides to stay, I will back him next season. The first season he was here, he was unbelievable. Last season was terrible, but everyone was terrible last season. Rashford was terrible. McTominay's always terrible. Like, who else? I don't know. Everyone was rubbish last season. Let's be fair. Dalot was decent. Garnacho was all right at points. Højlund was all right at points. Everyone else, Kobe Mainoo was obviously good. Bruno was pretty poor last. Like, do you know what I mean? So, do I want Casemiro to go? Yes. I think it makes a lot of sense. It allows us to invest in a younger squad for the future. But will I be crying if he doesn't leave? No, I'll support him. Of course I will. But yeah, obviously you can let me know in the comment section. Do you think Casemiro will leave this summer? Do you think he will stay? I think he's got to go, but again, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We've got over 700 people watching now. We're halfway to our likes target of 700 likes. So if everybody who's watching live right now hits the like button, we will hit that target and I will be a very happy man. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do that. It's completely free content, doesn't cost any money, and I'm live every single day. So there's no reason for you not to subscribe, unless, of course, you think, who the hell is this idiot? I hate his videos. I'm not subscribing. But if that's you, then I don't know what to say. Okay, anyway, a couple more bits to go through before we wrap up the show. Obviously, we spoke this morning about Manchester United exploring a deal for the Turkish national team left back. Apparently, Manchester United have approached Fenerbahce over this deal. I'll be honest with you, other than at the Euros, I haven't really seen that much of this player. I always struggle to say the Turkish name, so I'm going to try and say it, but forgive me if I say it wrong. So his name is Ferdi Kadioglu. I think that's good. Might not be. But yeah, apparently Manchester United have spoken to Fenerbahce about signing 24-year-old Ferdi Kadioglu. Had a really, really good tournament for the Turkish national team. He's available for 21 million euros, which is about 17 million pounds. I think he's an interesting option. I know some people say never base your judgment of a player on an international tournament because international football is so different to domestic football, you know, to the Premier League, to La Liga. It's completely different. I mean, if you look at the case of Jude Bellingham, right? I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but it can go both ways. Jude Bellingham won the Player of the Year in the La Liga. He's been absolutely awful for England at the Euros. Terrible. Like, it can go both ways. And I do sometimes agree with those who say, you know, don't base your judgment of a player off one tournament. So am I excited about this? I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, welcome Gerald to the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. I hope you're doing well. A new name in the channel, a new member of the community, absolute legend. Yeah, good to have you on the channel. But yeah, there's lots of people in the chat saying he's another Dutch guy. Yeah, so apparently this Ferdi Kadioglu actually used to play for the Netherlands, and then at about the age of 21, he decided to move nationality to Turkey. He played most of his football in the Eredivisie. I can already see people in the chat grinding their teeth together saying, oh God, not another Erik ten Hag Eredivisie signing. But yeah, I don't know. He looked decent at the Euros. Am I excited about it? Not particularly. Do we need a new left back? Maybe. Probably. We probably do, to be honest. Malacia worries me. I think there's something seriously wrong with Malacia, both mentally and physically. He was injured all of last season, and it didn't even seem like it was a serious injury. He just kept getting injured over and over again. So, yeah, Malacia does concern me, and Luke Shaw has concerned me for years. So, I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens with that one. But I think I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It feels like a good moment to end today's show. It's been an amazing video as always. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me. Welcome to all of the new members. Welcome to all of the old members, of course, as well. Please make sure you leave a like before you go. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll be back at 8:30 a.m. UK time tomorrow for your morning show. If anything breaks between then and now, I do go live, so make sure you hit the notification bell. We were live at about 10 o'clock last night, bringing you the Manuel Ugarte breaking news bid. So as soon as any news comes out that I think's worth reporting to you, I will go live. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Have a lovely Tuesday evening. Go and enjoy the France-Spain game, and I'll speak to you all at 8:30 a.m. UK time tomorrow. Bye for now, everyone.